I don't know, man. Sometimes maybe I do have fatalism. I do believe in that. I don't know. It's hard to. Sometimes it's faith. Sometimes it's fatalism. I think it's okay to be depressed sometimes. It's all right to be happy. It's all right to let depression make you happy. It's all right to be lonely. It's all right to be happy in your loneliness. You know what I mean? I don't know. I like it all. I can't believe we get to experience it at all.
Just a closer walk with thee. Granted, Jesus is my plea. Daily walking close to thee.
Me and Jimmy Matt Rowland were talking about how cool it is to watch people that are just working at the venues. Maybe they're not religious, maybe they're not. Doesn't matter what anybody believes. We'll go into one of these songs, like Just a Closer Walk with Thee, and to just see people just like enjoy the groove and the music, and you can see it happen. And that's how it's been everywhere. It doesn't matter if we're in Manhattan, it doesn't matter if we're in DC, it doesn't matter if we're in the South. That was the purpose of it, is that it does not matter what you believe in. I just want, if you believe in music, then you can get down with it. And so that's the whole goal. And that's the way it's been everywhere. It's been really cool to see.
If someone were totally uninitiated to you and somehow didn't know that those songs were gospel songs from the book, they sound like you. How did you get them in and have it come out to sound so real and in the moment and present, like you're talking about?
I think that they sound like me because they are what influenced my writing style, and my melodies. And I wouldn't write the way I'd write had I not grown up with those songs my whole life. So we didn't try too hard. Dave and I both knew we wanted it to sound like home, which is hard to define, but when you do it, you know it. We look at each other like, yeah, that feels like you're walking into Bonnie's Bait and Tackle on a Friday afternoon to buy a basket of crickets to go try to catch a red-bellied brim at Slaughter Creek. You know what I mean? It feels like that. So, yeah, it feels like home. I always wanted to make a Southern gospel album, and because it's what everybody did, George Jones and Hank Sr. and Dolly and everybody. And both Dave and I both came from very religious backgrounds. His grandmother on his mama's side was a Pentecostal preacher. His grandmother on our side was Pentecostal, and then I, of course, grew up in Southern Baptist. And so when I hit him up about making a Southern gospel album, I just said simply, when are we going to make this Southern gospel album? And he said, oh, our family would be so proud. So that pride and knowing that it's where we both come from, that made it a little different being in there, But musically, no, we just sort of approach the songs the same way we would any songs.
Are you fully dressed in his restless house? Are you washed in the blood of the Lamb?
I don't really think about an album until it sort of, it's like a muse. It's sort of like when I write a song, I know the good ones from the okay ones because they just fall out of the sky. And it's the same thing with making a whole album. It just sort of, you just kind of know when it's time to make one. And I don't think about any direction until that happens, It just sort of happens. So no, I don't think it will influence. I think I'm just staying course,
I know when you made the previous record, I believe you talked about having done mushrooms and finding God. I'm curious, how do you find God now? Is it any different? Are you finding some different revelation here with some of these songs? Playing them night after night.
Yeah.
Where are you at on that sort of God thing?
I will say this, I've reached God on mushrooms, but I've also reached God just praying. When I was in LA in 2005 and 6 and living in the middle of Hollywood, I was, it was sort of a culture shock for me. And so I was pretty scared. But one night, I had a little air mattress in the corner of this little room. Me and Zach Kasich used to share. He's a great engineer, but I didn't even know him really back then. We just moved into this one room together, middle of Hollywood. And I was laying on my air mattress one night, and I was just praying like crazy, praying. Like, Lord, just keep me safe. Let me be doing what I'm supposed to be doing, you know. And the next thing I knew, my whole body was in waves. And I left behind like ego. It was an ego death, and it was completely sober. I wasn't on anything, and it was like a mushroom trip. And so I have gotten there. I think like psychedelics are just a fast track. You just get there quicker. And but nowadays, you know, I don't know. Every moment, again, I've always been this way, but every moment is, I don't know, it's amazing we get to live life at all, sort of, you know. So I'm just always sort of aware that, thanks, Lord, I don't know, you know. So it's all, everything in life.
Blessed be the tie that binds our hearts in Christian love, the fellowship of kindred minds is like to that above. When we asunder part, it gives us inward pain, but we shall still be joined in heart